Hello, Pep. How's it going? This is Mike with MakerMade. Can you hear me?
Hello.
How are you doing today,
Kip
sir?
from Germany. Hello.
How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm fine, thanks.
Awesome, awesome. You have any questions, any issues?
Yes, I had not much time last week, but yes, I have some difficulties. At first, thank you to the links I got from Casey, I think, and because the video was calibration, but I have further issues because after I tried to set up the chains, the machine run to the center. So I don't know what is the issue, because after my center is here, and after I adjusted the change or the parameters,
Okay.
it moved more than 80 centimeters below the center.
Okay. So it's let me see. Have you done the edge calibration?
Not yet.
No.
I'm still here.
Okay. Do me a favor. Open up a window browser
Yeah.
and then type in AnyDesk. ANYDESK.
Could you repeat, please?
Yes, AnyDesk. Hold on. I just put it in the chat right now. AnyDesk.com. ANYDESK.
Yeah.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Click right there. Yes, that one. All right there.
Ah, okay.
There you go. Download it. And then you want to install it. You're always pressing right click on the laptop, right? All right, it should give you a number. Go ahead and give me that number.
This one?
Yes, sir. All right. Can you send it? Can you tell me what it is?
It's 159
159.
598
Okay.
740.
All right. You should be getting a pop-up right now. All right. Go ahead and accept it.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go to. Okay, so you're here on this one. Give me 1 second. Yeah, F250. Yes, sir. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. So let's see. Come back here. And have you done the whole measuring of the chains, correct? Hello?
Pardon?
Yes, you done the whole measuring of the chains, correct? Where it says measuring chains,
I cannot hear you.
Give
Just
me-
a second.
where it says beginning measuring chains, have you done that one?
Yes, this one, right? Beginning.
Okay.
Mhm.
Let's go ahead and do this one real quick. All right, do me a favor, measure the top of your sled to the top of your wasteboard. So, let's see.
Now or
Yes, right now, go ahead and do that right now. Measure the top of the sled and the top of the wasteboard.
$652 millimeters.
All right, go ahead and enter that there. On your screen.
Should I introduce it?
Excuse me?
Should I introduce a millimeter?
Yes, the millimeters right here. What exactly whatever you measure, put that in right here. And then press, whenever you're done, press next. And then press move to center. And did it move?
Yes. Oh, okay.
How close?
Looks not
How
bad.
close is it pretty close? It's a lot closer, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, the next step, all you gotta do is just go ahead and do the edge calibration. Go ahead and finish and apply, and then go ahead and all right. And then the next one is your edge calibration, and you can start doing your edge calibration.
Okay, good.
All right.
Okay, thank you
right,
very
I'm gonna
much.
Of course, I'm gonna go ahead and log off your computer.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Of course, if you have any questions, go ahead and send us a message, support@makermade.com. Hey, Drew. Hey, David.
Hey, I've actually got a question today.
All right, let's see it. Hopefully, I got an answer.
I've duct taped a 150 amp plasma to my nozzle, and it just keeps catching on fire.
I
How do I fix that?
have no idea. Let's see the plasma. I want to see the hookup you got.
I'm just kidding. I was
Oh,
actually
man.
gonna grab my plasma out and duct tape it to it.
I was like, man.
I mean, I had a chance this morning. I do want to make one though that I can attach the plasma to. I'm gonna do it. I want to make a metal frame and do a plasma. Just do a water table at the bottom.
That's awesome. I see your hookah.
Yeah, I'm okay today. I'm tired. I had a resin print. I had to go, and it was 5 kilograms, and so I had a couple of them a couple parts that were 5 kilograms. So I had to sit up for 3 days straight. I set the alarm every 2 hours, refill the resin vats every 2 hours for 3 days straight. So it's like, oh my god, so I'm kind of delirious now.
surprised Casey's not on.
Yeah. Sometimes last week I missed it. I was been running around. I'm trying to have all this AV gear and everything else. I have a full TriCaster Platinum edition, which and so I'm at the point where I'm like trying to get all the studios just like packed up. I need to sell this damn thing.
What is it?
The TriCaster, it's like what ESPN and other ones use for doing the broadcast. It has like virtual sets and all that stuff. It's a fancy one. It's like the $20,000 one. I don't use it. I traded a boat for it.
Oh, okay. So you recently traded a boat for it?
Well, no, a while ago. Last year. I just haven't used it. I thought I was going to use it, and we never did.
How much are you gonna sell it for?
I don't know, probably 10 for the setup with the control board. How's everything else going? Any new exciting updates? Anybody using the lasers yet on the MATLAB?
I have to put it together. I have not had time, and I should have it by the end of the night.
And I have like one that's dedicated with the laser right now. I have that M2 dedicated with the JTEC. And I have the other laser, the other 20-watt one that Chris sent me, but I just haven't had a chance to play with it. But I've got the JTEC running. I just haven't had a chance to use it. That's the only thing that sucked. Besides when we did all the testing and got it working and got everything working and then all that, but I did a couple of those test cuts, but and grace, but I haven't done anything else with it besides that yet.
And with the customer support and the timing and stuff like that,
Yeah.
But hopefully tonight I will have it locked and loaded, so ready to start.
I'm probably gonna drive up next week up to Mel's headquarters.
Nice.
We were supposed to yesterday, but I had a meeting I had to go to yesterday.
Hey Dave, how's it going, David?
Okay, I've got some pricing questions. I don't know if that's something you should cover here or it's a separate call.
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to figure out what the difference is between the original Maslow with an upgrade and the 2021 M2.
Drew?
The frame is better, so the jig's better, but honestly, between the original M2 and the new M2, it's not gonna be a huge difference. I don't know. There was a guy on the forums the other day, and I almost bought it. And I didn't. I already have 3 Maslows, but there's one he was selling the original the M2, the new or not the newest M2, but the last M2 for $500. It was really a badass deal if you're looking
On the Facebook forums.
Yeah, on the Maker Made Facebook forums.
Yeah, Maker Made.
Okay.
He might have sold it already because that's a really good deal.
That is a good deal. I thought the M2 was at $999 and it's jumped a couple $100. So
Yes, it's at 1,200 right now.
yes, I see that.
They've done a pretty good upgrade though. That new jig system and everything else is really nice. As far as performance wise from the 2021 and the 2020 version, you're not going to see a huge. It's not a major performance difference. It's just a better build quality.
Right.
But they're nice once you get them going, stuff like that. So we have 3 of them. And they're fun.
Right, well, I mean, I'm even wondering if I should look at the downgrade to just the original Maslow, but I'm not sure I want to do that.
Don't do the original one. Stop. I wouldn't do the original one.
Yeah.
Because your problem is the board, so the shield on it's different, so you can't.
Right.
The new one had, and then also the I didn't like the mounting for the router. And so what happened is sometimes it slip. I had my routers wear out, the little knob wear out in the router. And so the second version, the M2, not the original mouse file, is a huge upgrade.
Yes.
Huge. And it's nice. I mean, and honestly, if you look at compare it to other ones, like I was looking at ShopBots, things like that, and I mean, you can't really get anywhere close to the price, especially the performance. And the new one has the shield. So let me walk over to let me walk into my warehouse real quick. Give me a second, I'll show you here.
Well, I think the Shaper Origin is probably the biggest competitor for me, and the advantage there is not just what it can do, but the space that it takes up when it's not in use.
Well, the nice thing, the M2s you can always build small, or the M2s you can build smaller. You don't have to build them like the full length. Like if Drew's not on here, but Drew has his built to a 4x4.
Right. Well, I like the 4x8. I intend to do 4x8 stuff, but you got a Shaper Origin, and basically all you need is the router. You do end up paying for their Domino or whatever their alignment system is, but when it's not in use, all it takes up is the box.
How much is the Shaper Origin?
$2,500.
Oh, that's the one that is just the handheld router that you do.
That's correct. Yes.
Huge difference. I have a buddy that has one. I actually almost bought one of those too, and I ended up not. It's like if you're doing projects, like if you're doing furniture stuff like that, you'll realize real quick. Every person I've had bought the Shaper Origin, I've had a couple friends buy them, and they've ended up buying them myself too. Now they're a great product, but depending on what you're doing, it'll get. And I don't work for Maker Made. I help them with projects every now and then and stuff like that because they're friends. But I just you can. And this has a laser attachment. So if you want to do a laser, you can put a laser on here. You can do a spindle. So if you want it super quiet, instead of using a router with M2, you can put a water chilled spindle or an air chilled spindle, and it make it super quiet. You have just a whole lot more options and a whole lot more precision than you're gonna get with. So,
well, I don't know. It seemed to me the precision seemed to be pretty good, but the other thing that it can do is joinery. If I want to put a mortise and tenon joint in a solid piece of wood, it looks to me like that's a lot easier than on the Maker Made M2.
You are right there. If you're doing that type of stuff, that's why my buddy still liked the handheld one they have, but they what do you call it? That is a good benefit of it.
Right.
So yeah, there's difference between both of them. And see, but if you get that one, I would definitely check the forum, see if you can get that M2 for 500. I'm trying to think. Let me look at my Facebook messages and see if I have this. Here. Sorry, I'm walking around. So we got big lasers up there, like on the second floor. I've got big lasers and office and stuff. I've got a whole room dedicated to mouse files, which is kind of a mess right now, but I've been moving stuff around. But and I do mine rolling, so I take up more space than wall mounting just because I move. But I have 20,000 square feet of space, so I move them around as I need. But
right, my issue with regard to space is I'm trying to fit this and a bunch of other stuff in a 19 by 19 garage. So
yeah, that's part of the reason why I have the space. My wife kicked me out of the house with all my stuff. And then I got big 10-ton mills, which would have sunk my foundation on my house. So can't put those in the garage. But yeah, let me grab my Facebook thing. Sorry. If you have other questions, let me see here. So let's see if I can find the guy.
well, I think the other thing I'm looking for is I still want to do a frame that has both a panel saw and the M2, and I've got plans for each separately, and I need somebody to help me do a mashup in SketchUp or something. I just want to make sure in particular that the Z-axis alignment between the two types of cutting are lined up.
Have you gone on the Facebook forums yet? The Maker Made Facebook forums?
I have, but not recently. I'm looking down right now.
You should check, because there's a bunch of people that have made jigs. One thing that's really awesome is the community. So you'll see that they do this every week, and but they have an amazingly awesome community.
It says, this is somebody in Lansing and they say sold now. That was posted
Oh,
July
yeah.
2nd.
Yeah, I figured
Yep.
itself.
Yeah, it looks like they sold it for $400.
Yeah, I was looking at buying it, and I ended up. I just have more than I can do right now. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I do think there's big differences, and I do think once you got, I think there's gonna be, there's definitely perks to both. It's just, yeah, it's
up to the
that-
user.
that's- yeah, and I think, and it depends what the thing I see too, like with my laser. So I have a glow forge over here, which the glow forges are great. Which you can see now, it's kind of buried under stuff. But when I was using the glow forges, I ended up having to, after I started getting some of that stuff, I ended up needing to go to bigger ones. And so then now I have a whole second floor with a bunch of 150 watt lasers and stuff like that, because I realized there was just things like, and so honestly, the 150 watt lasers were cheaper than the glow forge. So there's things there where, so it just depends. It depends. I don't know. It's one of those things. And
Do you have a lot of smoke issues with the lasers?
Well, I have a super fancy ducting system. So the only thing I do if you put a laser on the nozzle, don't hook it up to your dust extractor, because you don't want to send a spark into a big bag of sawdust. But for my big lasers up here, what I do is there's a plasma table. That's one of the Langmuir Crossfire plasma tables, CNC plasma tables. Let me see that. But that one, it's like, that was one of the things that made me get the Maker Made, is the support groups. Like I like Langmuir systems, but their support and all that's way different than that. If you see my fancy ducting system up there, so I duct taped a bunch of dryer hoses and then duct taped the exhaust vents with the blower fan. So it's not too bad. You can build a fume extractor, but really, for me, it wasn't really worth it. And if you can do activated charcoal, just get a bunch of activated charcoal for aquariums on Amazon and dump it into a Home Depot bucket between a couple layers. But yeah, so it just depends. But what are the other things you're looking at between the differences, or what are the other things you're thinking about on the M2? Or what was making
I was initially attracted by the ability to do 4x8 sheets of plywood, which is what I mainly expect to be doing, and do that at a reasonable cost. I do want to add the panel saw capability, but that's kind of a separate thing. I just figure if I've got a 4x8 space laid out, I might as well be able to cut things with a panel saw.
So with the panel saw, do you need to do fast ripping? Are you doing a ton of ripping all the time of 4x8s, or just every now and then?
Well, I expect to be doing basically plywood boats, and taking a 4x8 sheet of plywood and cutting out the parts. So
that's actually what I did. I rebuilt the seats and stuff on some of my boats and other things. So yeah, I'll be. The nice thing is it's unattended. So if you're doing like 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch,
right?
It's
not even.
You're doing like 1/8 inch.
It'll be probably quarter inch most of the time.
Yeah. It does make it nice that's unmanned, so you can literally set it and forget it. It's if you had a bunch of parts, you could fit a bunch of parts on a sheet. I would definitely recommend, don't leave without like making sure. But there is huge benefits. You can also pause things if you have things happen. You can pause things. If you're doing 4x8s, it's gonna be way more efficient than doing any of the other the handheld options. And you'll be able to you can set a bunch of pieces, queue them up, let them go, and then come back and grab them.
So the other handheld one, that's actually a handheld automatically.
Yes,
it's really cool. It's awesome.
It's handheld.
It's like the Goliath. It's like the Goliath one.
I guess it's got some resemblance. Yeah, it's not on wheels.
It's like
but
the head moves around. It moves a bit. So as you
it
follow the path-
basically, you provide the rough adjustment, the rough movement control, and it fine tunes it based on some adhesively applied. They call them dominoes. I think they're these kind of registration aids that you tape onto the piece of wood that you're working on.
I think I've seen it. I think I've heard of it before.
Well, and like I say, it also, one of the attractions to me, aside from the lack of space when it's not in use, the other thing it can do, they have a workbench that you can do pretty good joinery quite conveniently.
Yeah, the joinery piece is really cool, that thing. I have a friend that uses it for the joinery piece. I honestly am not we're a prototyping and R&D lab. So like we do woodworking and stuff, obviously, because we need to build. There's different things we need to build. But like if people come to say, hey, I want to build like a nice cabinet, I'm like, yeah, you don't want me building a nice cabinet. We're not a woodworking place. We will do things that we'll use wood and other materials and do it. But my joints are going to be pretty much hot glue and or wood glue and screws, or sometimes even just nails. So it's not. But
You work mostly in metal then, or what?
actually, a lot of 3D printing. So we work a lot of resin. We do metal, but we have everything from we get everything from big military drones, like big 10A drones that we design for different projects, to like a soap dispenser. Seriously, it's crazy. You never know. They've done weapons for Homeland Security, weapon parts for Homeland Security, to soap dispensers. So it just depends.
You don't know what he does. He's a prototype company. He has a prototype company.
I see.
But it comes in handy though, because it's versatile. So I did like that one. I did that you're talking about. Because it's been around for a couple of years now. They've been out about 3 years now since they finally got to market, and they've done a pretty good job with firmware updates and stuff like that. But oh no, I would pick. I'll be honest with you. I think you're gonna end up going with both. I think you'll end up with joinery, and then you'll end up, if you're doing a lot of parts like you're for the boats, you're gonna end up getting a Maslow, unless you spend 40 grand on a shop bot. Which I almost got a big shop bot. It wasn't a shop bot. It was a 12 by 16 foot CNC router cable, but it's huge. It was a company that went bankrupt. And I decided against it because I don't need that big. And if I do need big, I have extended chains on one of them, so I can do up to 12 foot on my Maslow. So I just it just wasn't worth the shop space, and the damn thing weighed 3 tons. So,
Right.
But yeah, there's gonna be differences if you're cutting, like if you're doing a bunch of joinery and stuff like that. The other ones will be better. If you're doing cutting a lot of pieces, them too is gonna be better. The good news is, if you don't like it, you can always sell it quick.
And when did the price jump occur, Mike?
Oh, the price. Yeah, about a month or two ago, give or take.
Have
Okay.
you found on Amazon yet to see if there's any other ones on Amazon?
They might have the original ones on Amazon.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They may have. Look on Amazon. You might be able to get a good deal on some of the.
Right.
Let's
Well.
see here. Amazon. Maker made.
Right.
Now, one thing you could always do is if you get the original.
But I think there's 10% less at the moment, I think. So you're nearly to the price before.
So you're not looking at putting like laser attachments or spindles or anything right now on that thing, right?
No, I don't have any intention to do that right now.
Then you might look at the original M1. The only thing you want to make sure is go with I can't remember if it's the rigid routers, which one, but just make sure you get the connection where it for the Z-axis nice and tight, and they work beautifully. I still have that third one over there, still an M1.
The original, you're saying that the original Maslow design?
Yeah, so it's
with Z-axis enhancement, right?
Yeah, and then you can always, the thing is, you can always upgrade it later on. You can get another shield because the stepper motors are the same, and you could just get a new shield, and you could get you could upgrade the Z-axis later if you wanted.
Right. Yeah, no, it's got me wondering about that because I'm not using it for anything high volume. I'm just kind of doodling around on it right now. So
Then if you're just doodling around having fun, I would look at the M1 because it's a good introduction machine, and you can always upgrade it. And so, but
now is the there was a comment on the MakerMade page that the chain sag algorithm has changed, that it's better handled in the M2. Is that?
It is. So the calibration's better and stuff like that. But you can still do that with the upgraded Makerverse, but there is it is better with them too. It's definitely worth the extra $700. And honestly, the new Z-axis setup on the
2021
on the sled is definitely nice. It's a huge improvement, but I said as far as functionality, if you're not running this thing all day every day, you're just doing parts here and there, you'll be fine either one. And it's a good way to get started because then really nothing's gonna change. Your whole workflow is the exact same. It'll just be a little bit more efficient the way you do it later on if you want to upgrade.
Right.
And so there's different ways. So I still use the M1 for things. I still have I have friends that use the M1s, and they love them. They haven't upgraded. They're just like, I don't need to upgrade. I just cut. I cut 10 or 15 pieces a week. I don't really need to upgrade. And so that it just depends. And once you get it calibrated, once you get set up, it's a little bit of a learning curve. But once you get set up, it's nice. And once you get used to the machine, it's really nice. And the thing I like about those is so like with a lot of the printers and equipment I have here, I always have everybody start off and learning instead of like learning design stuff. I have them learn the machines first because then it really helps you with your design process. And so if you I get them used to the materials, get them used to the machine, and I like machines that you can configure because you may find things that work differently for you, that work better for you than other people. That's why I feel like in the forums you'll see like 20 different styles of how they make frames, how they've done things, just because there's just so many different things you can do with it.
Right.
There's so many different ways you can do it. And so you may find later on, I want to do this, or you find you want to do a different dust extraction system. You want to do the other things. I ended up going to Harbor Freight, just buying one of the $100 dust extractors. And I need one for the shop anyways, but half the time, honestly, I don't run it. Still, I just let it put dust everywhere. And I have a leaf blower that blow the shop out. So I have 18-foot, what do you call it? Bay doors for the warehouse doors. But it just depends.
Yeah, no, I need something for dust control. It's just, I don't know how elaborate to get. The space is used for other stuff too, including some bicycles and some other tools.
So what I would recommend doing then, honestly, if you're gonna do that, I put mine on wheels. So I have the M2s are on the original frame, and I actually scrapped casters off an old medical cart.
Yeah, I've actually got wheels and casters, and there again, I gotta put the frame on, and it's a matter of how to attachment. I think I'm just gonna use kind of 2x6 frame.
Yeah, then what I would do then is I would stick with then if you get an M2, go with there's a new wall mounts and stuff like that, but go with the original M1 frame style because that's what I stick with. I stick with the M1, and there's other ones too out there that may fit better for you.
No,
but I like that because I can just roll them around and do a lot of stuff with them.
Right.
And then if you want to too, like sometimes when I'm running a lot of things, it's nice outside. I'll just run it outside. You know what I mean? I'll run in the back area because we've got a big back area. So a lot of times what I'll do, let me see if I can go over here. I have these Zoom carts because they make life 1,000 times easier. We do a lot of meetings, but so these are all the original M1 frames with the M2 setup. But then a lot of times what I'll do if you're in your garage, and this is, I'll just kick if you're looking for space and you want to dedicate wall space, I'll just kick the bay doors open, and then roll the M2s out outside and run them outside.
Right. Yep.
So now, if you're in an area you can do that, it's nice.
Well, the garage is off an alley, so I've got, that would get me another 6 feet or something, but not a huge amount.
Yeah, but that's perfect. That's all you really need because
That's right.
It's not very thick. It's not very deep. It's only like 2 feet deep.
That's
2 feet
right.
deep. So yeah, I've run one off the front one time, and I just put a little bike lock on it, so somebody didn't. But they're big enough where somebody's not gonna just drive by and throw it in the back of their car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I agree.
it's not like something. It's like one of my friends. When I got these big mills, I had them outside for a little bit. I'm like, and then one of my buddies like, aren't you worried about somebody stealing them? I'm like, if they can haul off a 10-ton piece of equipment, good, albeit. It took me 3 months to find a rigger that could move the damn things.
Kind of limits your number of suspects, but
yeah, exactly.
I'm concerned. Pepe, you've been online here. I don't know if you've got questions to address, so I'll mute myself here for a bit.
Yeah, I got him squared away right before you hopped on. Unless you have any other questions, any new questions.
What are your thoughts, Pepe? I'm curious about your thoughts on what, like, based on, sorry, what David's asking. Because there is definitely, like, the answer. Like, for me, it doesn't matter what you buy or how you buy it. I just if you get the other one, the handheld one, bring it on, show people. It's kind of cool. Get it on form and show people that thing too, because it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just they're all different tools. That's all it is. It doesn't matter what CNC you get. You know, they're all different tools.
All right. Well, I think I'm off to the MakerMade website then.
In the mean,
If you check Amazon, they have some on Amazon Prime too, and you'll get them like next day.
Dave, what's your email, Dave?
My email is marshalldavid@att.net.
Can you put it in the chat real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Send them a coupon.
Yes, I'm going to. But it's only valid for 60 minutes. No, I'm just joking.
Don't worry, I know where Mike lives.
You still haven't came down.
Mike, just one further question, because in the meanwhile I add the calibrate or continue the calibration with the edges, but I don't know exactly what I have to type in for the target distance from the edge. What is behind this measurement?
I'll let you answer that one, Mike.
All right, say it again. Say it again.
The target distance from the edge, what should I type there? Because I don't know exactly what is the meaning of.
Oh, it's 0. You can leave it at 0. On this one is 0. It's fine.
Okay.
The target means when you put it at 0, that's going to be the
you.
top of your waste board. So if you say, okay, so right now if you move it to the middle on top, it should go, the top of the sled should be flush to the top of the waste board. That's 0. Okay. If you put in 2 inches on the target, the sled is gonna stop 2 inches before the waste board. If that makes
okay. Okay, good. Understood. Thank you.
Of course. I'm about to send you an email, Dave. Let me know if you got it. Give me about 20 seconds. All right, Dave, let me know if you got it. And it should be blank. I just want to make sure it's the correct email address I'm sending it to.
I have somebody that didn't pay rent on the building, and I had to kick them out or on my building since I had all this AV or all this photo studio stuff. Trying to figure out what all the parts go to.
You could donate it. You could donate it to me.
Shoot, I will. If you loan me $10,000, pay the rent on that building, I'll do it.
Okay, I have to leave now. Thank you very much. See you next week. Bye.
Yeah.
Hey,
Wait,
bye,
jump
Chris.
on. Let us know what you decide to do. I'm curious what you decide to do. And what do you think? Which one, David, you end up going with? I'm curious. So.
All right, bye, Pepe.
Yeah, I'll
All right.
certainly let you know what we end up doing.
Awesome. I can't find my. I think the missing pieces of this thing.
So do you use your Glowforge at all?
I used to. I haven't used it in a bit, just because it's so much. The other ones are so much faster. I have the big industrial chillers hooked up to them, so it's just so much more efficient just to use my. It's honestly, the Glowforge is super easy and awesome. I love a lot of things I love about the Glowforge. I don't like their sport. I was pissed at their sport. They screwed me on one thing, which really got me upset. So like with y'all's, I had issues. Y'all sports really great about things like that. I had an issue with one thing though, where what was I thinking? The main board went out on it, and so like with y'all's printers or the M2, if the main board goes out, you just go buy an Arduino Uno on Amazon for a couple bucks. And Glowforge, what happened is when the Glowforge went out, they were like, oh, it's 2 weeks out of warranty. I was like, really? Like, we'll work with the guy, just replace the board. Like, no, you have to buy a whole new one. And they're like, we'll give you a $500 discount. I'm like, I paid because I have the Pro or whatever, which was like $6,000 at the time. And I was like, and so eventually, we had a bunch of news because we were making ventilators. We were donating ventilators we made ventilators and donated them during COVID. And so they saw one of the news stories, and finally, but they still charged me $1,000 for the board, replacement board. Whereas I had Dremel, I had one of the Dremel machines that I avoided the warranty. I knew. I called them like, hey, I need a replacement part. How much would it be? And they're like, well, what happened? And I was like, well, I overrode y'all's firmware and overdid the thermal settings and stuff like that. And so and they're like, oh no, that's not a big deal. And I was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, but it's been out of warranty for 2 years. Like, no, don't worry about it. They overnighted me a new part for free. I was like, really? I was like, no, I did avoid the warranty, but I was out of warranty. And they were really good. It's the same way y'all been with me. That's why, and Mirror Systems, I had some issues, but they were pretty good about it. But between y'all and Dremel, y'all have been like amazing. And that makes a huge difference.
Customer support. Yes, it is.
It's critical. That's why Best Buy is still around. Because when Circuit City and everybody else went under, Best Buy started saying, we have to compete with Amazon prices, and we have to do returns. So it saved them. The whole story is when they started saying, yeah, we'll take returns. If people aren't satisfied, we'll take returns. It's a loss, but what was funny is they realized that, yes, we may take $100 million a year in losses or whatever on returns, but it's better than taking a $300 million loss in a year in sales if we don't do those returns. And so it's just like the customer service, yes, you can do that, but you get people that are evangelized. And I just like the fact that you can modify everything that so I've been really picky about machines now that if I can't replace the parts myself, it's a big issue because I don't want to be down for a long time. Like the the Glowforge was down for 4 months while I was trying to get that thing sorted out. And so that's why I ended up giving me the bigger machines. And because at that point too, they were like, well, we can't even get you a replacement board for a while. And so with the other ones, it's like if I have issues, I can go spend $50 and have a part overnighted.
Sure.
Because y'all shield. How much is y'all's replacement shield if y'all just sell them just the M2 shield?
I don't know. It's on the website.
Yeah, I think it's like 60 or 80, or maybe I don't remember. but it's not that bad. It's a well-designed shield. I mean, obviously, with the laser, when Chris and I were doing testing, I've done about everything I can to destroy that shield. And so, and then the Arduino Mega, I mean, those are $40. So
Yeah, and that's another thing, Dave. David, if you go with the original M1, the original, if you ever want to go to laser, you're gonna have to upgrade your shield. Your
it
box.
sounds like you probably won't end up doing the laser though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not real sure about laser. I'm not sure I need, engraving capability or anything, but I guess it's all a question of cost versus benefit. But right now what I'm thinking is I'm more end up doing, cutting up 4x8 panels. And, again, if I go the furniture route, then joinery becomes more important.
Yeah. What's funny, I've ended up getting so much of from my friends. So a lot of my buddies have bass boats, and so many of them have like either bad windshields. So they have, they have the old 80s bass boats, stuff like that, or bass boats. And they're like, hey, can you laser cut me a new acrylic windshield for them? So I make so many damn replacement windshields for boats for friends.
When you said, you're cutting them out of Lexan or something or what?
Just acrylic, UV resistant acrylic.
Right.
You don't want, so if you're gonna do Lexan, you definitely want an M2. You do not want to do a Lexan on a laser. Lexan on a laser is nasty. You get nasty fumes. It gums up your machine. It's just horrible. So if I have to do Lexan, I do that on M2.
Right.
That's another nice thing too. You can do other materials. You can do acrylic. You can do other things like that. Just watch your speed settings.
Right.
So
I'm trying to think of somebody. Do you ever look at the website hackaday.com?
yeah,
I think there was somebody on there that did, it's like a CNC jigsaw or bandsaw or something. It was really kind of wild.
yeah, I've seen that one. Oh, that is actually pretty cool. You can. So I'm with you. I want to get a horizontal ripper because I rip a lot of 4x8 sheets, and so I use the Maslow a lot for that right now. But sometimes I'll just throw in a table saw. I have like 8 of them in a row to rip real quick. But you can use you can just use it to rip them real fast if you need. Not super fast, but you can use it to rip sheets. The nice thing is you can have it rip them vertically and horizontally, or so sometimes if I need a sheet ripped into a 4x8 ripped into a bunch of 2x2s, I'll throw in the Maslow and just let the Maslow rip it real quick into a bunch of sections.
And it's fast enough to suit you, or?
Yeah, because if I just have that one, I guess the thing is I don't have to sit there and do it. I have a bunch of things going on instead of me sitting there and do it on the table saw real quick. I'll just throw it on the Maslow, set it, and go work on other things while that cuts it.
Right.
Takes it so.
It's basically another employee.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
that?
You're basically using the M2 or the Maslow as another employee.
Right.
While that's cutting, you could be doing other things.
Right. Although it sounds to me like it's not a great idea to leave it unattended, but
It is. I mean, I wouldn't like go out of town or something and leave it running, but I've had one time where I had a bit get stuck and it smoked like crazy, but it didn't catch fire or anything. And then I've had, but the main reason, I put emergency stop switches on them, but I have webcams on them. So I just bought the $20 Wise webcams that you can buy on at Home Depot and I put those on them. And the fun thing too is I always do a time lapse video. So if we have things going on, it's fun because the Wise cameras do time lapse videos too for $20. And so, but then I watch them with my phone. So if I'm going away. And so what I have is I have one little, for $15, you can buy the Wi-Fi, what do you call it? The Wi-Fi plugs. And so I just have a Wi-Fi plug on it. So if for some reason something's going wrong, I can just always kill it remotely.
sorry, the Wi-Fi plug for an e-stop?
Yep. So I have an emergency stop on there that I have that's on the side of that bot. And then I just have a little Wi-Fi, one little Belkin plugs that I have plugged in there. And then that way I have it on my Wise cam. So for $40, I have I can monitor remotely and kill it remotely if I need to.
I'd be interested in that remote capability. And the e-stop is just on the router power, or router and the servos?
I just do it on the, I do it to the shield, so, and the router. So that kills, so it doesn't kill the Maslow, so you don't lose calibration or anything like that. It just stops the router and the motors. That's it.
Okay.
And so, and that way, and now with the that's the other good news about the M2. So it's better if you have, if you do emergency stop wherever, you don't lose settings. So that's it. And then what's really cool with Makerverse, you can actually Makerverse. Chris is an Uber nerd, the founder, the co-founder of this company, and the one that designed Makerverse and everything. I wrote Makerverse, and so there's actually a web backend, so you can actually control Makerverse and control the Maslow remotely. So like I can be sitting in here in my offices and control the machines remotely.
Right. I have yet to see much of Makerverse directly, so
It's cool. The new version they've done, he's done some really cool stuff with. And he's a true maker. So that's one thing I like about that is it's not made by a bunch of engineers. They're like, hey, you need to design a product and do it. It's made by somebody that's like, they design this product for themselves. How they would use it. So.
Yep. Okay. Well, Mike, I did get your email. I don't know if you got my reply yet or not.
Let me double check.
If you end up getting one and you have questions, log on and reach out to the community too, because the community is super involved.
Sure,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, and Mike's on demand, so just call him 24/7.
Yes, sir.
Or Mike.
Nah, I'm
I
good.
know we ended up just going to Corpus for the afternoon and coming back. I ended up not going to the Valley.
It's all good. Let's see. I'm looking for your email. Nothing yet. Should have got it. Oh, here we go. Got it. All right.
All right. Well, I think I can wrap it up here too as well.
All right.
Thank you both for your time.
Yeah.
Likewise.
If you end up getting one of those other things too, it's fun. I have some friends I connect you with that have a what do you call it? That have a
Shape or origin.
yeah, it's cool, but they have, that's what they were talking about. So I don't do joinery and stuff like that, but that it was funny. 'Cause I talked to them when they first got it, and it's neat, but they were having issues for big sheets and all that. It was just a lot of manual labor, and so they were like, they ended up, but they were talking about what you're talking about, how they love for joinery, and they're like, I just don't do joinery. I
Well, like I say, the other thing that's attractive on that is the portability, and I don't know whether it has, you know, accuracy issues on a larger panel, but
I don't
for
know
example,
that.
in a couple of weeks, I'm going to go meet my brothers. We're going to do a rent a cabin in Maine for a week.
Oh, that sounds
And
fun.
you can take the shape or origin with you, and you could build a boat with your brothers in a week. Now, turns out my brothers are not so excited about that. They'd rather sit at the beach and drink beer. But anyway, you can take it along and use it at a job site, even on a larger panel, even if it's not quite the ideal tool, where you really can't do that with an M2.
So I'll give you you can actually do with them too, but mark your chains. So if you mark your chains right, once you get everything calibrated, and build a frame that you can fold. You can build a folding frame that folds in half. You could, and so, and you don't do it on casters instead. Just do a folding frame that you have the hinge out and then folds in half, and then you can do it that way.
True.
You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and
No,
so,
I do intend to look at a frame that can be disassembled and reassembled, and I'm not sure, you know, a bunch of things keep bumping me towards metal rather than wood, and I don't know how to weld, and I'm not sure I want to learn.
I would go with a metal frame, especially if you can get metal for cheap. Now, honestly, with the price of wood, it's almost cheaper too. But what do you call it? But you can do it with bolts and do wing nuts and stuff like that. Just make sure you do your good marks for your main, so you keep everything level and everything. But I mark my chains, and honestly, for a lot of things, I don't need that much calibration. So if you're going edge to edge, I keep my calibrations just right. But if I'm just cutting a piece out of the thing where I'm still staying like an inch from the edges, I had a year where one of my Maslow was not calibrated. And I was cutting with it for a year uncalibrated just because I didn't care. I was just cutting shapes out of it. So I set my start point and cut it and just
Right.
make sure it's like a 1 inch. But if you're wanting to get super tight, where you make sure you're having zero waste, where you don't want you want to go right to the edge, stuff like that, you'll want to do the calibration. But for a lot of stuff, I have so much scrap stuff like that, I didn't care. And then we had 3 of them. So one of them was super calibrated for precision stuff.
Well, you were just rough cutting it, and then final cut was something else, or the precision was not needed.
Precision wasn't really needed. I mean, it's still going to be precise for like your inside stuff. The really where you're not going to get precision is when you get, if you don't calibrate it, if you have a 4x4 sheet right in the middle, and you need to make sure it cuts right to the edge of that 4x4. But if you're cutting stuff, let's say you have a 4x4 sheet and you're cutting a 12-inch piece out in the somewhere in that sheet, it doesn't matter. Your calibration. So what's going to happen if your calibration is off is you say it start here, and you may have an inch of waste on the side instead of a half inch of waste. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's not going to affect the quality of the cuts inside, really.
Well, I guess when I looked on the Facebook page a little while back, it looked like people were getting, I don't know, I'll call it pincushion pattern, where, you know, a square actually looks like a pillow with the bowed edges.
Yeah, so they didn't set their chains up right or anything like that. That was, so there's basic calibration that you do want to do, which is fast. It takes a few minutes. But like if you're doing the fine calibration and stuff like that, but it's fast, honestly. I've done calibration so many times now. You can do calibrate, especially with the new M2s and the new calibration setup. You can do calibration in 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think I'm signing off for today then. Thank you both for your time.
All right, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Well, Mike, how are you doing, man?
Doing good. Just working on a project myself, trying to figure out some stuff.
I know. I've been stressed, man. I'm trying to get jobs done fast enough. I haven't been able to get the help to get jobs done fast enough.
You trying to get what?
Jobs done fast enough, because we've got the AR, we've got the jobs coming in. I can't get them done fast enough by myself, and I haven't been able to get the employees to get everything done.
What do you need? You need me to go up there?
I need to design some parts. So there's a lot of mechanical things I'm designing where we're doing the CAD stuff like that, then laser cutting the parts. So a lot of stuff is doing I'm designing a mechanism that it's got DC motors that are doing, but everything has to be in sync, and design the gear ratios have to be right. And so now I've got the mechanism designed, but now I need to get in CAD and cut all the parts, all those things like that. And it's just like trying to keep up with also trying to be the janitor for the building, and everything else has just been brutal. So it is what it is, but
it's hard to find good work, man.
it is. And stuff like I need somebody here helping with the machines, because I'm trying to make the machines like at once having 3 days straight of getting up, setting an alarm for every 2 hours for 3 days straight. Like, so I try to sleep like every 4th hour, trying to sleep for an hour, try to get a little bit of sleep.
Yeah,
that's hard. I know they said Da Vinci used to do that. I'm like, fuck, I don't know how they did that shit. But, I'm just too old. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's interesting that. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm ready for vacation. I haven't had a vacation in 2 years. That's my.
Sounded like it, man.
But I'll catch up with you, dude. How's everything? You found, at least sounds like I'm fun with Maker Made. What kind of coupons do y'all get? Y'all have like 10% off or what?
Yeah, 10% off, 50% off. Depends on, it all depends.
Yeah, that guy. It sounds like that guy. If you did, would you end up giving him like a 10% or 15%?
10% off. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like that'll make the sell, because I think that was the only thing that was really stopping was the extra $200.
Yeah. So hopefully he'll buy and stuff or whatnot.
Yeah, I think honestly he'll end up. There's things where that'd be cool if he's going traveling stuff every now and then, but I think at the end of the day he'll end up realizing a Maslow's will be way better.
Yeah, I had a quick question, something out of Maker Made. Are you good, or do you know are you familiar with like to make a hotspot, like with no internet access?
Yeah. What are you trying?
Okay. This is exactly what I'm trying to do. You have internet access right now where you're at?
Yep.
Go to bleepshare.com. BLEEP.
Let me go up to my computer real quick. had a meeting yesterday with our energy company because with the so CPS Energy, that's all the same thing, stuff like that. I'm friends with the CEO, but however, we got him a huge like $6,000 electric bill. Over
Hey,
the
you know
storm.
what? You know what I thought about? There's a AEP just went out of their office over here in Harlingen. There's a big building for it. I thought about you. I was like, I wonder if you could get it a lot cheaper over here to get his stuff. Cause
Yeah, the problem is I just want to be able to move. My kids are here, so that's the big
Yeah.
thing. Because my kids and my stuff, I can't leave the county because I spend a lot of money fighting to make sure my ex-wife can't leave the county with the kids.
yeah.
So I have to stay in the